The Conference of Speakers of State Houses of Assemblies have written the National Assembly's Joint Committee on Constitutional Review that they will not act on the 44 bills seeking to amend the 1999 Constitution unless the Federal Parliament passes 4 new bills they have proposed in the letter. The proposed bills, according to the Deputy Senate President Ovi Omo Agege, are to 1. Establish state police. Number 2, establish state judicial councils. Number 3, streamline the procedure for removing presiding officers of state houses of assembly. And then finally, institutionalize legislative bureaucracy in the Constitution. Briefing newsmen at the National Assembly, the Deputy Senate President said only 11 state houses of assemblies have acted on the bills 6 months after its transmission to the state houses of assembly. And another tidbit here is that at the Aso Villa, President Muhammadu Buhari on Monday scored his administration high, saying his government had met the earnings of Nigerians through the execution of impactful projects across the country. President Buhari spoke during the Ministerial Performance Review Retreat of his administration at the Conference Hall of the State House, where he also declared that high-impact projects have been implemented across the country, meeting the earnings and aspirations of Nigerians. Have a look at this.
0.54% year on year in real terms in the second quarter of 2022.
Speaking of achievements, the country's flagship air carrier, Nigeria Air, is to begin operations by December this year.
This is being boosted with the certification of 2 of our international airports, Lagos and Abuja, by International Civil Aviation Organization, while Kano and Port Harcourt airports are undergoing similar certification process.
The SGF says these reviews have helped the cabinet to maintain focus on delivering the administration's 9-point agenda and has in turn provided solid evidence of the achievements of government.
The PIS, as a major value addition, recommend ways of improving performance, especially for deliverables that were rated below 50%.
Former President of Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta, is the guest speaker at this retreat, while British High Commissioner to Nigeria, Catriona Lang, has a goodwill message.
Belly is full, I have a roof over my house, my head, I have a secure job, my child is in school, I have good health facilities. Until we tackle all these issues, as I told Obama, then we can now start talking about other things. That's what I told Obama when he visited Kenya and he started trying to introduce funny things. I said, we don't have time for those kind of discussions. We need food on the table.
Institutionalizing a culture of accountability. Performance management enables accountability and better delivery of essential services. They are so necessary for building trust and the social contract between the government and its citizens.
At the end of this third Ministerial Performance Review retreat, President Buhari is expected to sign an executive order on improving performance management, coordination, and implementation of presidential priorities of government. From State House, Abuja, Kehinde Amodu, Trust TV News.
Welcome to Daily Politics. On this program, we discuss issues around politics, policy, and governance. I am Hamza Idris. Tonight on the program, we will be interfacing with Barrister Adebayo Shitu. He is a former Minister of Communication, a ranking member of the All Progressives Congress, and Director General of the Tinubu-Shetima Coalition for Good Governance. He joins us to discuss issues in the polity, especially the party's presidential campaign, the recent meeting between presidential candidates and Arewa Northern elders in Kaduna, among other issues. Welcome to the program.
It's my pleasure being here.
Yes, Honorable Former Minister, yes.
Thank you so much.
Yes, you've seen from our tidbits. Yesterday, President Muhammadu Buhari started meeting with ministers to review their performance. But specifically, he scored himself high don't you think he should allow others to score him high instead of him scoring himself high?
Well, you would be charitable to say that if he was elected by the Nigerian people, he needs to give a feedback to those who elected him. They expect him to tell them how far he has gone. And so the performance review, which was held yesterday, like it has always been held even when I was a minister, is the right thing to do, to tell the people, if you have failed, tell them, I'm sorry I failed in this respect, and I want to apologize. If you have, on the other hand, succeeded, you should be proud enough to tell the people that...
Like the Agama lizard.
You know, like, look, I mean, I am happy to report to you that we have succeeded on this score, on this score, on that score. So what the president did yesterday is, because there are a lot of people in this country who are deaf and dumb, with due respect to them. They don't read newspapers, they don't listen to news. All you will hear from them are criticisms, ignorant, baseless criticisms. So for me, what the president has done, he has not gone out of his way to tell the people that we have succeeded. And you know he gives some indices of his success.
Yeah.
It is for people who doubt it to challenge him to those indices of success.
Now, for instance, he said his administration constructed over 3,800 kilometers of roads across the 6 geopolitical zones. But chieftain of the APC, it is very difficult now, I know, for you to traverse maybe just 2 geopolitical zones without encountering serious encumbrances on the road.
Well,
why?
The truth is, there's something called Nigerian factor. What Nigerian factor means in real terms is corruption, is compromises, is cutting of corners, and it is, you know, getting people to try to cheat on the people. The president is one person, he is an authority. He employs people, he also employs contractors. It is one thing to employ people and to employ contractors.
Yeah.
It is not the duty of the president. He is not the minister of works or of any other thing. He is not a director of works or of roads or controller of works. He is none of this. His is to give instructions, which I believe he continues to give. It is for the minister and for all others in the chain, in the value chain of construction work. We know very well, because I remember when I was part of the government, that
Minister of
the president once asked, why don't we have potholes on Abuja roads and in other parts of the country we have potholes? He wanted to know. But nobody was able to give
Nobody told him.
Nobody was able to give an answer as to why only Abuja roads are substantially the best. I am happy to say, however, that you will recall that the Lagos-Ibadan expressway of more than 100 kilometers had been abandoned by previous governments for more than 10 years. Today, if you go on that road, you would feel proud as a Nigerian that for once we are having very good construction work, you know, by the contractors who have ensured that all the parts of the road that have so far been built, you won't find any failure on any part of that road. You won't find, you know, potholes.
But I've seen many of these roads failing. For instance, Bauchi to Gombe. Now, even Abuja, you know, Kogi State, you know, following the flood, for days you see vehicles trapped there because some bridges are broken. People believe that even no matter what you spend, there is this need to use carrot and stick. And Buhari is being accused of not really wielding the stick too.
I wouldn't have all the details of that.
Yeah.
But if you are talking of roads which are, I mean, particularly bridges which are failing, what you should question is the fact that the road construction on that particular road has taken a much longer time than expected. Until the road is concluded and delivered as finished product, we outside government, we outside the Ministry of, Works, will not be able to know the extent of what that has been done and what are the causes. Yeah. But I believe this kind of discussion would give people in the Ministry of Justice, Works, and the contractors themselves of signals that the public is concerned, and if the right things have not been done, people would speak out at the appropriate time.
Yes,
so for me, it is we are trying to assist.
You have traveled widely, and in other climes, not necessarily in Europe or the Americas, even in Africa, you see government saying, okay, so road or so building, after so number of years, it will expire. So even if it is good on the surface, you see them rebuilding them, and with this, they build enduring infrastructure. What is our problem?
Well, our problem is maintenance. We lack maintenance culture.
Yeah.
For the first time in my life, I learned in Malaysia that roads are supposed to have expiry dates. So for the best road by Nigerian standard, you may wake up in Malaysia one day and find bulldozers excavating that road, which we would consider in Nigeria as the best road. Yeah. And you will ask, are these people crazy? Why are they destroying the road? And they will tell you that road has expired and that they have to rebuild it. I think, unfortunately in Nigeria, even the roads which are just being done, more often than not, either because the contractor is trying to cut corners, or there's lack of supervision, lack of appropriate supervision on the part of controllers of road who have responsibility to ensure that the right materials are being used and, ensure also that there are guarantees as to the number of years that road could start, giving way. Yeah. So I think what we should do as a country is that, we must be more vigilant, and we must, ensure that in doing, road contract agreements, we put the necessary safeguards to guarantee for contractors building roads to give guarantees as to the number of roads. But like I said initially, our main problem is Nigerian factor. And what is Nigerian factor? It is corruption, it is compromise, it is cutting corners, it is greed.
And we have been discussing this since independence.
Well, unfortunately,
government goes.
I want to believe that much as the current government is doing its best, we are very hopeful that the incoming Asiwaju Tinubu government would improve on what we have, as of today.
Well, finally, from the ministerial briefing, he spoke about Nigerian air. Do you see it coming in less than a year for the president to go?
Well, it depends on the political will of government.
Yeah.
I mean, if individuals are starting, air, traveling companies, and they are making a success of it, how much more government, which has the wherewithal in terms of finance, in terms of getting appropriate negotiations with, sellers and manufacturers of, aircrafts and so on. So it depends on government. And I want to say that this talk has been on for some time. It will be to the credit of this government if it ensures that before it leaves office in 2023, that Nigeria Air takes off.
Okay. Do you think, as someone who served in the first 4 years of the presidency, the mantra of anti-corruption, and now he's rounding up, is there anything to talk about it in terms of success?
We would credit government to a large extent for the fact that previously, you don't have people who have served as governors going to prison for corruption.
Yeah. But those that went have been released.
Well, for whatever reason, which we don't know. Yeah. I mean, I was not happy because I felt the wrong signals were being given by releasing people who had been. And unfortunately, you find one of them saying that he was politically mistreated.
That was Dari. I read the story.
That he did it. I mean, meaning that he did not really steal. And this was somebody who, when the initial judgments were given against him, he appealed. He lost at all levels of the appeal.
Exactly.
Only so for such a person to come and say that it was politically motivated,
simply because he has been released. Yeah.
It puts a debt because he had been released. You cannot undo what you have done by releasing him for whatever reason.
Yes.
So these are issues that I think current government and subsequent governments must ensure that judgments are full. Of course, the law also exists that there must be prerogative of mercy.
Yeah.
But I don't know what are the conditions.
It should be rightly...
but applied, we don't know. We don't have all the facts. But I think that we should be more reluctant, particularly when we commit ourselves to fighting against corruption. Also, when you have people stealing much lesser amounts of money, serving full terms.
Somebody who stole goats, sent to jail for 10.
Some people even steal out of hunger.
Yes.
Not out of greed. So for people who steal out of hunger, my religion, for instance, Islam, says that they should be looked upon with mercy. But not somebody who steals out of greed, because anybody who is stealing billions can certainly not say he's stealing because he's hungry.
Yeah.
Because you don't need a billion to live a lifetime.
Yeah, I know that shocking policy statement that came from the National Assembly, the Deputy Senate President saying most of the state houses of assembly have refused to act on the 44 bills sent to them because they want certain bills to be incorporated before they... Is this not really contempt of sorts?
Well, I think this hard arm swift arm tactics is not in the best interest of legislation in Nigeria. Some of the bills, some of the 44 bills are really to protect the integrity of state houses of assembly.
Yeah.
But because many of them are more of puppets to state governors, they refuse.
Yes, because there was allegation today flying that they were twisted by the governors.
Well, you know what we have. Many state governors, I say this with all, reservation, all apology, many state assemblies are not worth the names and the expenses being spent of them. Many are,
puppets
of state governors. Unfortunately, these are state governors who now want state police.
Yes, because I want us to touch them maybe
but
briefly.
They do not want independence for the judiciary and for the legislature.
Yes, for state police, how are we going to unravel this, mystery? Because is it worth it, or the state legislators are just using this as an alibi to truncate the amendment process?
I know that usually when issues arise between state governors and their legislators, the state governors always triumph because state legislatures do not have financial independence. They are always going cap in hand to the governor. And, governors know how to manipulate.
But by the way, I remember I think ahead of 2019, the National Assembly, worked it in their favor, but many of the state legislators...
They refuse to
even admit that they deserve an independence.
They refuse, unfortunately.
So what do they really want?
It's a pity, I'm not here to blow my own trumpet.
Yeah.
In 1979, I was a member of the Oyo State House of Assembly.
Yes.
And the governor, who was a member of my party and the leader of my party, sent in a letter, a one-page letter, containing about 25 names, asking me, dear Mr. Speaker, kindly get these names approved as speaker. As commissioners. No CV, no curriculum vitae, no information whatsoever on any of them.
Just for political expediency, he sent the names.
I had to rise at 26, a new member, just a week, in the House of Assembly, to rise to say that this house must not be reduced to an appendage of the office of the governor. How do you ask us to approve people we have never met, we don't know whether they're educated or not, to approve them as commissioner?
Maybe he wasn't aware of the procedures of interfacing with the legislature.
How would a governor who was a very senior lawyer, not know.
Another curious request by the state legislators was that they want streamlined procedures for removing presiding officers. I don't really understand what
I don't understand it either.
Yes, because when you said procedures of removing presiding officers, because I think they are independent arm of the government.
See, the thing is, I remember also in our time in the then House of Assembly, I brought in a motion about 1982 asking the House to probe some contracts awarded there. My motion was carried. A committee was appointed to, to look into the contract.
Yeah.
And reportedly, the governor sent for the governor and threatened to get him removed if he did not go and review the said motion, which brought about, a committee to probe. Yeah. And the second day we were there, a new motion was, raised, and, I raised my hand to oppose why only 24 hours ago we approved one motion, and now another motion asking for the dissolution of the. And the then speaker, late now, said, as the speaker, I overrule. Those in favor say aye, those not in favor say no. The noes have it. And that motion, that committee was dissolved. So you see the same trend, and you'll be wondering, why is this happening? The answer is the Nigerian factor.
Finally, on this, what do you think should be done? Because year in, year out, we keep spending billions of naira to amend the constitution. But at the end of the day, once the legislative year lapses, that is the end. Another set of lawmakers will have to start all over.
I hesitate to call for a military takeover. I hesitate. I will never call for a military takeover.
Okay.
Because of that also, I can say that we are not likely to have a radical change in this country, in the way we make laws, in the way we, handle serious issues of government. Because unless you have a near dictator who has the right ideas, and who is not afraid of death, who is not afraid of, not getting a second term, and who has effective control on all of his officers, ministers, special advisors, and so on and so forth, we will never have a change.
Thank you very much, Barrister. Viewers, we will take a short break now, and when we return, the discussion of the day, which is issues in the ruling party and others, commences. Please don't go away.
TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Brotherhood. On the part of we the people of a united Nigeria, unbreakable. the famous of this anthem, may God rest their souls, we cringe to know that since 2 years after, someone will come to this hollow platform to campaign on the basis of tribe or where others come from. And one of you, yes, I have no control that I'm a Yoruba boy. I'm a city boy from Lagos. But the joy of it all is the fact I didn't choose myself. I didn't choose to come. I applied to come. I joined a Congress with great minds backing me. The Northern Governors Forum said, oh, power is truly not served a la carte. Let's support a Southerner, no matter who he is. And they made that promise. They made it stick. They stand on it firmly. And that is how I emerged. I beat them silly. They are all here. Whatever name you call them, they are here. They are great people. They brought me here. They are standing with me. They know I can do the job. They improve my competence. To come back to our vital topics of the day. Why do you want to run? Or why are you running? Or what are you running for or from? I'm running for uncertainties.
Well, that was Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the presidential candidate of the ruling All Progressives Congress. You heard what he said at the Arewa House. He opted to go and address the Arewa Committee. Do you still believe in these socio-cultural organizations?
Of course, because they are human beings. And these are well-informed, well-educated leaders of communities across northern Nigeria. And if you are talking of northern Nigeria, you are talking of 19 states. That is majority of states in Nigeria, as opposed to the 17 states in southern Nigeria. So if they say they want, and they are people that the local people would, listen to.
Some people believe that Northern Elders Forum, Arewa Consultative Forum, Jam'iyyar Ramatan Arewa, and many others, they don't really wield that power to influence voters to say, okay, vote for me.
What does our principal, what does he lose by going to talk to everybody who wants to talk to him? He was invited to the platform, and to me, he has no choice than to go, because these are leaders who must be respected and who have provided him with an opportunity to speak to the entire North. It's a wonderful opportunity, and I'm happy that he made the best use of it.
But if another opportunity is provided, maybe by Afenifere in the southwest, do you think he will honor it?
Why not? Why not?
Barrister, a few weeks ago, I know I read at the height of this endorsement thing, Afenifere up till now, they are adamant as far as supporting him is concerned. Are you threatened
Wallahi, we are not threatening. Wallahi,
You are saying wallahi.
Wallahi, we are
It's a
not
powerful
threatening.
group.
Well, I'm sorry, I don't want to offend very wonderful people. There are very wonderful people in Afenifere. But you would agree with me that what Afenifere is to Yoruba land is not what Ariwa and all those who invited Tinubu yesterday are to the north.
In terms of pedigree or what?
You see, many of them, because, I mean, we are talking of politics, and politics is about, relationships and all of that. I'm not sure Afenifere today represents any specific group of people in Yoruba land.
Why?
I'm a Yoruba man. I mean, that's historically it does not. I mean, in the days of Chief Obafemi Awolowo, who founded Afenifere, Afenifere was very politically relevant, But today I can't see Chief Ayo Adebanjo, with due respect to his age and his achievements in life, I don't see what relevance he is in any part of Yoruba land, not even Ijebu land, in terms of casting of votes, in terms of people saying we want to listen to Ayo Adebanjo to know where we will cast our votes for. That, as of today, does not exist.
Two questions. Why do you think he's against Ashwaju? And don't you think it's a bad signal, the mere fact that he is not with him?
He is not. I've told you, I don't know who he represents in Yoruba land.
Okay.
Not even in Ijebu, where he comes from.
He's the chairman, the leader of the
chairman.
Afenifere.
I don't belong to Afenifere. I used to in the days of our law. But today, he does not represent me. And I know he does not, he represents himself and maybe the coterie of people, who still see him as a political leader. And you would take note of this. There's hardly anything in the last 10, 15 years that Baba Adebanjo will say that has any political relevance to the people of Yoruba land. But his miles apart from the aspiration of his own people.
Yeah.
So maybe because of his age, we continue to respect him. And we pray that God will also give us as much number of years to spend.
Yeah.
But that is as long as living and life is. But in terms of politics, I've had cause to say in the past, and this is not as a sign of so many very wonderful people there. I am aware, I don't want to mention names, that even within Afenifere, a lot of people see Baba, their leader, as a loner.
In this movement?
Yes.
So you still believe that Tinubu will get the support he needs from the... I am
challenging Baba Afenifere and any other person that our target is to get 80% of the votes in Yoruba land. Today, the popularity of Tinubu in Yoruba land far outstrips, and I say this with due respect to my late friend and brother and father, late MK Abiola. I can assure you that the votes that Tinubu will get in Yoruba land and in other parts of this country would far outstrip what MK got 30 years ago.
But even Pandep in the southwest, not to talk about...
Pandep, there's nothing like Pandep in southwest.
No. We're talking about southern Nigeria now. Yes. I'm just dividing into two blocks, north, south. Pandep, they said they are not for him. And then even in the north, I think there is another central group.
I don't know what this Pandep is. We have
Pan-Niger Delta group, yeah.
You are talking, even in Niger Delta, we have enormous support in South. Southeast, a lot of people have been traumatized, have been threatened. So a lot of people cannot come out. But you will not be, those threatening them because of Tinubu, will not be there when people are going to vote. So we don't have any fear. I preside over a coalition of more than 1,000 support groups.
Yeah.
And I know that there are several Igbo-based support groups who are also part of the 1,000 support groups that are within the coalition. So,
what do you make of this argument that Peter Obi, the candidate of the Labour Party, has actually encroached into Southwest? He has taken over Southeast, and he's also making serious encroachment in South.
People are living in their dreams. Peter Obi and whatever coterie of support he has It is part of Tinubu's, it is part of Atiku's support base that he has encroached.
Not Tinubu?
No, certainly.
But there are many Igbos in Lagos.
No,
and they decide who becomes.
They don't decide. If they decide where the Igbos also decided the governor of Lagos now.
Any contender must reach out to them because they have a large
vote. You reach out to everybody.
Okay.
Not because he's an Igbo, but because he's part of the electorate. That is the truth.
Okay, what about the north? Because you have Atiku from the northeast, you have Kwankwaso from the northwest. That thinking that Tinubu will really make real sense in these demographics, is no longer there.
It is there. It is there. And I'll tell you, as the head of our coalition,
yes,
I've gone for campaigns in Kano State.
Okay.
I've gone in Niger, in Minna. In one day, I inaugurated 17 campaign groups in Minna. I'm not talking of Lagos, Minna, in the heart of northern Nigeria. I've been to Abeokuta to inaugurate campaign groups. I've been to Adodo, Ota. I've been to Lagos. I've been to Ado-Ekiti, all over. And in Kano, if you look at the environment in Kano, you would hardly feel the fact that Kwankwaso comes from Kano. In terms of the number of people, erecting, campaign posters.
But the issue is that, I keep asking this question whenever we have guests speaking on behalf of their actors. The same people that maybe you inaugurated in Niger, in Ojebu, you inaugurated, the same people will be inaugurated by Kwankwaso, by Obi, by Atiku, by other.
You know the problem that people like Kwankwaso and others, and even Atiku has. To start with Atiku has never been the head of any government in this country before. He has never been the head. The best that he was the number 2 to Obasanjo.
But he's said to be the strongest vice president.
Well, I don't know what are the indices of his being strongest, quote unquote. I don't know. What could that have been the problem, the reason? While the testimonial that a vice president should have, if indeed he was strong and he was most invaluable, you never got it from Olusegun Obasanjo. The worst testimonial that any presidential aspirant could have, or presidential candidate, is what Atiku has to contend with.
So you are saying your candidate will take over some of the votes belonging to Atiku.
We know. Let me tell you, in Oyo State, for instance, where I come from, a lot of PDP elements, and even in Osun, where I know very well, will tell you, for governorship candidate, they might vote for their PDP governorship candidate. But for the presidency, it is Tinubu or nobody. And I stand to be challenged. And these are facts. I will not come here and tell lies, because at the end of the day, there would be an election and results will come out. And I want you to put this on record, that for the presidential election, a lot of PDP elements all over this country are going to vote for Tinubu.
Anyway, we'll discuss some of these issues, especially the points he raised at Kaduna during his meeting with the Arewa committee. But viewers, we will take a short break. When we return, we ask these probing questions. Stay with us.
That's great.
Yes, welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is Daily Politics. We have Barrister Adebayo Shitu, former Minister of Communications, in the studio. People are really agitated now because candidates are just making promises left, right, and center. For instance, Ashwaju in Kaduna, while facing the Northern Committee, promised to start Mambila. This ought to have been the showcase project of the APC government. But here we are now. For some obvious reason, he said he will make sure that he starts and complete this project. Do you think he will be able to do it?
You see, it is often said, show me your record, and I can then decide to trust you or not. I was talking about people, aspirants or presidential candidates, about their past. Atiku has no record of achievement because he was never the head of any government.
He led the privatization of the...
Well, what is the result of it? What is the result of it? That privatization has been so scandalized that I am sure he'll be regretting that he ever had.
But he's still making promises that he will privatize.
He keeps making promises. Promises are cheap.
NLPC
Talk is cheap. Talk is very cheap.
So how can your candidate...
Why? Because my candidate has been governor in Lagos for 8 years.
Okay.
And today, the best thing we are able to beat our chests about is his record of performance. No other presidential candidate has his record of achievement. Let me just remind you of just one out of so many. The Atlantic Ocean, before Tinubu became governor, the Atlantic Ocean was threatening to swallow Victoria Island. And all that the military government was doing then, particularly with the late Abdulkarim Adisa, then Minister of Works,
and Housing,
was to be utilizing about 3 billion every year to pump sand on the bank of the Atlantic Ocean in Victoria Island. Once they put the money there, they put the sand, the Atlantic Ocean comes out, washes it away for several years, wasting our money. That same Atlantic Ocean, which was threatening Victoria Island, has not only been caged, I want to use the word, by Tinubu when he became governor. From it now sprouts an Atlantic city. There's now stability in Victoria Island, no more threat in Victoria Island. The seashore is now very stable, it has been caged, and a new city has arisen from it.
That if you have somebody... We are saying now, because this APC government which he belonged
to... Is there any place where there's a worse crisis than that Lagos you are referring to as this Lagos?
Times have changed.
So if I was intelligent
and
I was smart yesterday, because times have changed, my brain will suddenly have a somersault, and I will not be able to use my smartness, my education, my intelligence to transform, by way of a Midas touch, other parts of the country.
Even though I don't want to go deep into that, but you can see other candidates are looking at his age, health status, and all.
What is his age, if you know?
Well, they say 70.
I am 69.
But when you stand with him...
What is the age of Atiku? 76. So Atiku is 6 years older than Tinubu.
But some are actually asking questions about the integrity of that claim.
But they should bring something that would debunk. Before you say that I was telling lie about a fact, you must be able to bring something which will prove me wrong. None of these noisemakers have been able to bring anything to counter it other than pure mischief.
So how do you think he will approach the Mambila debacle? Because it's supposed to be the showcase project of the APC.
Let me tell you, APC is not made up of one person.
Okay.
APC is just a platform, like all other political parties are platforms. We have today in Nigeria a number of PDP state governors who are doing very well. But the fact that some are doing well does not mean all are doing well. So you have a Tinubu who has been a recurring decimal in the governance of APC, in the coming on board of APC, and in installing governments of APC, and who alone remains the recurring decimal because of his record of performance. So you think such a person because it is no more Lagos State. If it becomes a national government, he will no more be intelligent and so on.
So you believe that he will actualize Gbagila?
By the grace of God, he's going to do it because he has done similar things in the past.
You see, why I'm insisting on this question is that the candidates, we have seen the trajectory now. They appeal to the sentiments of people. Maybe if he gets to Southeast, what he will tell them is different. Now, another point he raises, Al-Majirai, we have them all over the street. And he said he is going to take them off the street by magic wand.
It doesn't have to be magic. I used to be the Commissioner for Home Affairs, Information and Culture in Oyo State in 1983.
Yeah.
And that time, we, the Olunloyo, Dr. Molu Oluyo government, brought about a merger between the Western school system and the Ileke school system, the Arabic school system.
Yes.
By ensuring that all teachers of Arabic schools were brought into government, system, payroll and so on. And the quality of teachers were also improved. It was when the military struck in 1983-84 that they abolished it. So if we were able to do that some 40-something years ago, what prevents a conscious, conscionable Nigerian leader from doing the same? Particularly that not doing so leaves millions of hapless children out of the school system, who invariably becomes problems of insecurity in our society, problems of joblessness, problems of so many social maladies.
Yeah.
So for me, that is one project that Nigerians deserve, particularly the people who do not have parents placed enough to send them to school.
But you can only do this when you win the election. Up till now, the campaign trend has not taken off.
Yes. So what is wrong in aspiring to do that?
Tinubu met with governors last week.
Yes.
And up to now, we didn't hear anything.
Look, I told you, our coalition, for instance, has been on the campaign trail for 4 months now, even though we do not do it as open campaign. I told you that I've been in Kano, I've been in Minna, I've been in Lagos, I've been in Ibadan, I've been in Ado-Oduota, I've been in Abeokuta, I've been in Ado-Ekiti. We have not been going to play in all of these places. So the fact that Tinubu himself has not gone onto the campaign stand anywhere.
You are going, but he is still battling to see how they can work together with the governors. Do you think this is something he will be able to achieve in the coming days?
I mean, the governors who gave him all the support for him to emerge. So why would it be difficult? Even in Kaduna yesterday, you saw how the governors were almost idolizing him because of the love and affection they have for him, because of the trust they have that he's a competent person who would take Nigeria to places.
I wish I asked you more questions on this, but you have pressing issues in your home state.
Okay.
Oyo.
Yes.
PDP governor.
Yeah.
Is there any hope for your party? Will you deliver your party to?
Do you remember how Oyo became a PDP governor?
You did anti-party of sorts.
I didn't do anti-party.
Okay, what did you do?
I didn't leave the party.
But you didn't support the party.
Let me tell you.
Yes.
At that time, we had the misfortune of a party leader who subverted the interests of democracy in the choice of candidates for various houses of assembly election, for various houses of representatives election, and even for the governorship, in the sense that even I became a victim of subversion of democratic process. All of those who felt frustrated, who after they had paid forms for nomination to become councillors, to become chairmen of local government, to become members of House of Assembly, House of Rep, Senate, and all of that.
They all
of annoyance.
Yeah. But did you really benefit from what happened in 20?
It is not about benefit. When people get frustrated,
they act weirdly.
People's wishes are subverted. When those who never collected nomination forms are the ones who become candidates. That is the kind of thing you saw. And I want to assure you, all those who left for APC at that time to go and support the PDP candidate who eventually won are back in our party.
Yeah. Adelabu said 80% of the candidates in a word or two, they are in our court party. Will you deliver the state for APC?
I don't think his statement is relevant.
Okay.
Because, I mean, I don't see him coming first or second in the election. I can assure you about that.
So you are hopeful of delivering
By the grace of God, we will do our best.
Thank you very much. Well, because we've been with Barrister Shitu, a chieftain of the All Progressive Congress. We thank you very much for coming to the program, and we hope to have you next time. This is where we come to the end of the program today, hoping that you will be with us tomorrow for another edition. Thank you for now. I am Hamza Idris.